We jump into the market, we look at a few key levels. And again, I've been saying this day in, day out. You only need to watch 3 levels on the market until these levels break, specifically the top and bottom. That is going to depict the way we're going to move. Now, obviously that middle level, right? That's what's kind of giving us a way of trading to the up or to the downside when it comes to scalping, okay? So when we look at this, we have to look at the Nasdaq, we have to look at the S&P 500 and the Dow from a lens that's pretty transparent. We want to understand something, that we're not looking to swing anything right now. Swing trading right now is terrible, right? We look at this market basically since, the end of March, it's been sideways chop. Okay. So when we look at the range, what do we need to know? 13.2, 13.1, 12.95. Now the big areas we're watching are 13.2, the highs of this region on Nasdaq, the lows of this region down here at 12.95, and then it's basically ping pong back and forth. Now on the higher time frames such as the daily and the weekly, you're still making higher lows. Okay, we have been structurally, we are even here on something like the 4 hour, you can still see we're doing it. Now you're getting close, right? Based on this pullback, you start breaking below 12.95 here, you make a lower high. Okay. Or a lower low, I'm sorry, and that would be pretty bad. Now, higher highs, we are making, technically right now, a lower high as well. So when we look at this, let's just talk about where we're at and how we're moving, and we're moving into a pretty important time, in my opinion. Now, before we jump into too many conclusions, I want to tell you right now, in my opinion, I'm not hammering shorts, I'm not hammering the downside play. It's not there for me until we break below February highs right here, the 12.95 on the Nasdaq. You need to understand that. Until that level breaks, there's no reason to start swinging or expecting, a 300, 400 point move on Nasdaq. Now, for everyone that's commenting down below saying, yeah, when are we going short? We're going to get a rug pull. You'll still be able to catch that if you wait and you're patient for the 12.95. If you've been here on the channel long enough, then you understand what I'm doing, how I'm trading this, right? When you're in the chop, that's where you lose money. That's how you hurt your account, is when you overtrade chop, right? That's what sets up traders to lose their money, period. But when you wait for the breakout, you get confirmation, that's when you make your money. Now, before we jump into exactly what I'm looking at, I have to ask you to do 2 things. Consider liking, consider subscribing every single day here on the channel. I make videos for you so you are prepared. I also make educational videos on Saturday so you understand how I trade, why I trade, and things that ultimately depict what I'm liking in the market also. Now, a little bit further, we're doing a big giveaway. We hit 45,000 subscribers. The link to the Instagram is down below. We will be announcing the winner tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow we will be DMing out the winner. We'll record it too so everyone knows it's legit and how we're doing it. So I want everyone to know that. We'll probably even do it on live stream tomorrow. But right now, make sure you go subscribe, follow the Instagram, get accepted. We're giving a free Discord membership for a whole year at full access. It's about $700. We're giving a free ultra wide monitor. It's LG, the same ones we use, except this one's curved. So I think more people like curved monitors. And we're also giving $100 in cash, all to one winner. They'll be decided tomorrow during the live stream. Just made that announcement now. Jay's probably watching the video and not going to be happy about that, but that's what's happening. Now, I want to talk a little bit about some things that have happened in the market. Now, I was wrong with Tesla. Tesla so far, and this earnings was a little bit bigger than most for a few reasons. One, Tesla's expectations were a little bit different compared to the last few earnings because they had lowered the price of their vehicles. So the idea is to get margins better, more beneficial for the company. Now, Elon has made it very clear what they want to do. Let me actually bring it up for you. And this is directly from Elon himself. Tesla price cuts were responsible for the declines. Musk defended the cuts on Tesla's earnings conference call. We've taken a view that pushing for higher volumes and a larger fleet, basically pushing out, getting their cars in the market, the focus of EV, is the right choice versus a lower volume, higher margin, basically making more money per car being sold. However, we expect our vehicles over time will be able to generate significant profit through the autonomy, basically the AI driving yourself, robo-taxis, etc. He even floated a radical idea later in the call. We're making a car that if autonomy pans out, we think it will, where the asset will actually be worth a hell of a lot more in the future than it is now. it is technically possible to sell it at a $0 profit and still have a net present value of future cash flows associated with the asset, whether it be significant or not. The profits came later by selling self-driving software. Now, this was very bad from a viewpoint of investors right now. You're not looking at the market and saying, okay, well, you just presented a plan for us to make money in 10 years, not making money right now, or even shorter than 10 years. Now, from a short-term investor's mind, that's like, it is terrible. That's why you're dropping like you are right now. He basically said he's not focused on making money in the short term. He's focused on getting to a product that hopefully he can make crazy amounts of money in the long term. Again, I get it. I see the problem. I see why people are upset. I see why it's going down. It makes sense. But he's playing the long game, not the short game. There's a difference between the stock and the company. We know this. We talk about this often. And that's what's happening here on Tesla. So Tesla obviously took a hit. You came down. You broke previous lows from March 13th. And I will say it looks highly likely you want to fill that gap down at 146. Okay. Now, from there, this was probably the biggest impact on the market. You also had AT&T get absolutely ravished as well this morning. Now, we go into Nasdaq, and I will say for a majority of the day, even with Tesla in the trenches, you had a lot of upside here on Nasdaq. You basically pushed up into 1 o'clock. You pushed basically right here, so you can see. We pushed up back to 13.2. We trend there and we kind of come back down. And then we end up dropping here in the last 4-hour candle on the day. We're getting a little bit of bounce here at the end of the day. Now, I'm going to say right now, okay, you're still in the range. So there's no reason to say, oh my gosh, we're going to die. We're going to crash. They're going to squeeze up. They're going to short us down. Right? There's no reason to jump to those conclusions yet. You break below 12.95 and hold, you're bearish. You break and hold 13.22, you're bullish. That's it. The end. That's what I'm going to continue to say this story. And right now we're just chopping in this range. There's no reason to jump to conclusions. There's no reason to start making big bets because as of right now, this is what's happening. But what I will say is going into next week, what is happening? We do have PCE, we have GDP, we have the vote on the debt ceiling. Those are three major impacts on the market. And what I'm going to say from that as well, if you look at that, the vote could possibly not go well. And if that doesn't go well, along with bad PCE and a bad GDP, we could see some major turmoil. But on the contrary, if those go really well, you could definitely see you push up to 13.7. So that's why I continue to tell people, there's no reason to jump on a side or make big bets yet. I'm going to continue to say that because it's the logical thing to do when it comes to trading. If you're a day trader or swing trader, whatever it may be, swing trader, you're not making any money right now. But if you're a day trader or scalper, it's all about reactions. So focus on what you're being able to get. If you come up to 13.2, I've said it plenty of times. Logical scalping TA makes sense to bet on the downside. You go to 12.95, makes sense to go long. Back and forth, play the range, do what you got to do. That's been it. For myself personally, when I've been trading here, I'm going to show you the trades that I took today, right? A few personal trades that I mentioned. Let me bring them up really quick. I want to just bring from trade ideas really quick. We had Netflix. We went long on Netflix. Middle of the day, we had the bull flag broke out, said up to 331 right there. Where did it go to the tick? Jay even called it out. I forgot to mention at the end of it, 331.4 right to the key level. Next up, what else do we mention right here? SPY. We went long on SPY this morning at 911, right when it broke up. Mounts that level, ended up ripping. Where did that go? Going back down. Jay called it out once again. Went right next to the key level, 413.5. Contracts all did very good. We mentioned Microsoft as well, but that wasn't one of the big trades. So that's what we're looking at there. Now I want to highlight here, right? I'm understanding what my plan is. If we get above certain levels, I want to scalp to the upside, then I want to be done. Someone asked me today, we were at 13 before we had the big dip. Am I looking to go long on Tesla? Am I looking to grab longs on Amazon? I'm not looking to go long while we're at a major resistance. Where we've been rejected like 10, 15 times so far in the past 15 days. It makes no sense. Again, I want to say things. Even people in Discord, even people on Twitter, people that follow me, there's no reason to get flustered, get upset, because we are going to make some human error. We're going to be forced to want to take more trades, especially when we have to be more patient, right? But I'm going to tell you something. When you're patient, you focus on your plan, it really makes trading so much simpler. It makes your job a lot easier because you're able to manage that risk, and overall you can have a little bit more clarity in your trading as well when you're less focused on making immediate money and focused on getting the best opportunity, because there's a difference between trying to make money and then waiting for a good opportunity to make money. Those are two drastically different things, especially when you're trading, because you don't need to be trading every day. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. There's people that try to trade every single day. I think it's the common misconception. I think it's the easiest way to go broke in this market. And your number one goal when you're trading is to protect your capital. That's your goal. So what I want to do really quick too is I want to go over some ES and go over a few other things. There's some stocks I'm liking as well. So ES, where are you at? Again, ES doesn't necessarily look terrible. You're still holding above 41.38, which was that big level that we, had to mount and conquer here. We've mounted a few times, pushed up, got back below. We mounted, we've been back above it. So we're still looking good here in ES. But again, ES underneath 4,200, we're not necessarily incredibly bullish. We're above 4,100. We still look good though. Okay, there's two sides of it, right? Above 4,100, we look good. Above 4,200, we're very bullish. You have a lot of upside, but you can't be bearish until you get below 4,100. The Dow had a pretty decent start to the day today, right? Let me bring it up really quick. As you can see, and it's still honestly to the end of the day, still really awesome, to be honest. We go like some like the 5 minutes, so you can see, you start out around 830, you rip up to 34K, you get rejected, double top, you push down, bouncing again, right? In my opinion, like I mentioned in yesterday's video, this was established from IBM. IBM last night, you beat earnings, you go from 126, you hit highs in the after hours of like 132, and you came back down. If you're not following Twitter, I recommend doing so. Why? Going into Twitter, I made it key levels for you, right? Posted as well. I was like, you're probably going to come up, hit 131, target number one. What happens when you hit a target? You expect to get rejected. And we're looking specifically during market hours. If we go back into IBM, we come in, we hit target to a T, come back down. You had a few opportunities to trade this. You came back down to 125, traded back up to 129. I still like IBM, but the question right now is, are we hitting a brick wall on these major indexes right now? That's what the focus and the question kind of remains for myself. That's what I'm focused on. That's what I'm looking at. So right now, that's what we're doing. We don't have any really big earnings. We have Procter & Gamble in the morning. We have PPG tonight. Some railroads. Nothing crazy, nothing outlandish today. So I'm not looking to start hammering positions or going crazy on anything. I'm being patient, letting the trades come. And again, you're just waiting to find those setups, right? Like I mentioned yesterday with a few other names. There's Apple and there's other ones, right? You had good setups. You could have scalped those. You don't have to force anything, but that's what you're looking for. So let's go into a few trades we're liking. And actually, before we do that, I wanted to go over Bookmap really quick. And everyone really asks about Bookmap, so I try to always cover it for you guys as well. Again, on Bookmap, it's what it's doing, and the link is down below if you want to check them out. It's showing you the level 2 data just with a heat map, so it's easier to visualize, and you can see the time in sales as well. And the data is pretty fantastic. It's better than most brokers because you have to pay a premium when you're on Bookmap for their data. Now, Bookmap, once again, with the icebergs, the big orders still signify the downside here today, right? So even though you were pushing up here, again, with the icebergs, this is just like when we had the big dip a few days ago. Icebergs kind of were the leader, or the maybe the lagging indicator for that, right? Or the leading indicator. So you push up, you drop right back down. Okay, so looking at Bookmap, we had a little bit of a signal from there. Okay, we had no big buying, and I would have notified people if we saw the buying, but we did not see that. Now, diving a little bit deeper, going into cheddar flow. I know you guys have a lot of questions about SPY and the biggest option flows coming in here. Bigger orders coming in. I also want to mention April, what is it, 21st? Yeah, April 21st, it's a monthly expiration. Now everyone's a quad witching, this and that. That, I don't really care about quad witching. I'm not going to lie. Like, I could kind of care less. But what I will say about quad witching and everything else, right? This has been one of the most notorious bullish expirations that we've seen in a while for April 21st. This is kind of passing up. I'm not saying you shift to a bearish thesis yet, but I'm saying that one of your biggest catalysts for pushing these with all these in-the-money contracts on the call side is kind of going away. So you need to understand that as well. Going into Qs, same thing. A lot of heavy put flow coming in here today as well. VIX, a lot of call flow. Let's go into VIX as well. VIX, again, I'm not huge on drawing patterns on VIX. I think it's kind of stupid. But what I will say is you're definitely in a descending wedge, right? If it's a reversal pattern, if I've ever seen one, VIX, you're at 52-week lows. It's disgusting. Yeah, VIX, if you want to mitigate any risk, is probably the best play out there right now. short and simple. IWM, very interesting how we entered today as well. You had a bit of a dip, but you kind of bounced back near the end of the day also. But again, IWM still in its range, not that important for myself. DXY, you've been pushing up, and everyone's been commenting about DXY, and I try to like listen to you guys, but I'm not super concerned. There's so many devaluing happening out there, and it's pointless to focus on DXY when there's so many outside influences on it right now. Okay, so I'm not going to focus on something that is so back and forth, and it's not even to do with the financial markets per se right now. So understand that as well. And I do want to mention yields on the shorter term. I haven't mentioned them in a while. You have been tracking up on the 2-year, the 5-year, and the 10, right? They're all tracking back up. Your inversion's at 94%, nothing really crazy. You're tracking up, but it's a lot of sideways movement, so there's no real direction. Someone was like saying, oh, well, you're pumping back up. I'm like, you are, but you're clearly like in like a little bit of a range and getting rejected off the 200 SMA. So there's no real reason for me to be really pushing one direction here or siding with the direction. So that's why I don't cover it that much, is because there's no real indicator for me right now, right? I'm only going to push things if I think that they're going to happen or they're relevant for my trading right now. Okay, the last stocks I'm going to mention are some things that I'm liking. Now, going into tomorrow, anyways, Tesla, everyone wants to talk about it. Something I mentioned on Tesla from yesterday's video was if you get below the 200 SMA, on the weekly time frame, right? Go to indicators, go to the weekly. We're going to bring this indicator list back up. So if we bring up the 200 SMA, this is it right here, 177. Now, obviously, you're far away from that. But the last time that we got below the 200 SMA, what happened, and what do we say would happen this time? You get below 200 SMA, you got to be the biggest bear that there is, right? The last time we held below is on the daily time frame. You ended up shooting down over the next 2-3 weeks from 160, 157, all the way down to lows of $100, right? Just saying, it's terrible, it's ugly. It doesn't look good. You have been respecting and bouncing on it, but now you've broken below. I am looking at Tesla for possibly trying to fill that gap down to 146. That has to be your target. If you're looking at stops, really highs from today or locally around 167 as well. Besides that, I wouldn't be too crazy, but also I'm not YOLOing into any puts or anything along those lines. I'm trying to be as patient as possible going forward. Again, nothing crazy. Now, again, let's talk about some other names I'm liking. Meta has been probably one of the easiest stocks to trade. Yeah, it really has been. So looking at the 15-minute, I've mentioned this a few times. The 213 level is everything. It is all that you care about. 213, remember the name. That is the key level. If you continue to hold this, you will bounce and bounce and bounce. I mentioned this a lot in Discord today. This one trade I did not take. Biggest regret on the day was not taking this because the contracts went so crazy. I still made good money, but Meta could have made it a fantastic day if it was only a great day. So Meta, if it's above 213, I love the upside. If you get back below 213, you're pretty bearish back down to like 210. Possibly lower to 209. Those would be the areas and what I would be focusing on there specifically. Next up, Walmart, Costco. You're going to notice something interesting happening on these names, okay? They're pretty bullish, right? On the 4-hour, the daily, they all look incredible, right? You're breaking out. You look really good. Now, I try to find value when I'm taking some of these names, right? I'm not trying to go heavy on Walmart at highs. Costco, you raised your dividend yesterday or today, I can't remember when, but you got back above the 200 SMA, what you were looking for, you hit 510. Now, one, I do like Costco up to 520. I'm going to tell you that right now. But the play I like here is Target. Target has been trying to hold, and I think Target makes it really easy for you. So if you go to your daily 200 SMA, what I'm looking for here is, can you hold this level right here? I don't really care about anything else. It's this dotted line right here, daily 200 moving average. That is the indicator if you want to check it out. At 160.8. Okay, if you can hold above that, I like the upside back into 166, possibly 168. Okay, that's where I'd be watching for us to try to push. Everything else, I really don't care. If you get back below 200 SMA, I'm not interested. Okay, I'm gonna let you know that right now. Wouldn't be trying to bet against Costco, Walmart, or Target, but I like Target to the upside if you can continue to hold this 200 SMA. That's what I'm watching there specifically. Now, everything else, I'm not going to go too crazy on. I don't want to get too risky. It's a Friday, and I don't want people taking just crazy risk. That's my opinion. That's what I'm watching. If you have questions, please comment down below. I would love to know what you think, or if you have questions on specific stocks, someone from the team will get back to you, maybe even myself. See you tomorrow, traders.